Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. Welcome to the daily quiz discussion for the 14th of September 2022. Before we begin, we have an important announcement. We are glad to announce the launch of the Political Thinkers and Ideas series. This would include 10 episodes on important Western and Indian political thinkers as well as their ideas, thoughts, and philosophies. This series is designed to help you in papers such as the essay, ethics and integrity, as well as optionals such as sociology, public administration, as well as political science and international relations. Please note, this initiative would be starting today, that is the 14th of September. We would have a video every day at 7 p.m. up till 23rd of September. Also note, this initiative is exclusively available only on BYJU'S Exam Prep Telegram channel. So please join the channel now to take part in this series. The first topic would be on Plato. So join us today live at 7 p.m. on our Telegram channel. Beginning with the first question of the day. It reads, consider the following statements about exercise Kakadu. The first statement reads, it is a bilateral maritime exercise between India and Australian navies. The second statement reads, the upcoming 2022 edition would be the first such iteration under this exercise. And the last statement reads, it is being held in Australian maritime waters. Which of the above statements is or are correct? Please have a look at the options given. Now, what is the context? This article from the PIB takes note of India's participation in the multinational naval exercise Kakadu. Note, Kakadu is Australia's largest maritime exercise and aims to foster and strengthen security as well as humanitarian partnerships across the Indo-Pacific region. These are a series of training and engagement activities between the navies of the region. Please note, this is conducted twice a year in Darwin as well as the Northern Australian exercise areas. In addition to Australia, the other participating nations include countries such as Bangladesh, Canada, Chile, France, India, Indonesia, Japan, New Zealand, Korea, Singapore, Sri Lanka, US, as well as Vietnam. So we can say that it includes the nations located in the Indo-Pacific regions. Coming back to the question. From our discussion, it becomes clear that the first statement is wrong. Why? Because it is not a bilateral exercise, but it is a multilateral exercise. Consider the second statement. This statement too is wrong. Why? Because the upcoming 2022 edition would not be the first such iteration. This exercise has been going on for many years now. The third statement is correct. As discussed, these exercises generally take place in Darwin as well as Northern Australian exercise areas, both of which lie in Australian maritime waters. Since the question asks for the correct statements, the answer to this question would be option B, 3 only. Moving on to the second question. It reads, consider the following statements about National List of Essential Medicine 2022. The question statements are as follows. The first one, this is the first ever such list being released in India. The second statement, this list has been prepared based on the recommendations of the independent standing National Committee on Medicines constituted by the Union Health Ministry. And the last statement reads, vaccines included in the Universal Immunization Program are listed under the NLEM 2022. Which of the above statements are correct? Please have a look at the options given. What is the context? This article from the PIB takes note of the launch of the National List of Essential Medicines 2022 by Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, the Union Minister for Health and Family Welfare. Coming back to the question. Consider the first statement. This statement is wrong. Please note, the National List of Essential Medicines was first formulated in the year 1996 and it was revised thrice earlier in 2003, 2011 and 2015. And the current NLEM 2022 is a revision to the 2015 list. So we can say that the NLEM 2022 is the fifth such list being released in India. The second statement is correct. That is, This NLEM has been prepared based on the recommendations of the National Committee on Medicines, which was constituted by the Union Health Ministry in the year 2018. Consider the third statement. Please note that certain criteria are followed in the inclusion of medicines under the NLEM. For example, only licensed or approved drugs by the Controller General of India are included in the list. Also, medicines which are recommended under the National Health Program of India also find automatic inclusion in the NLEM. And finally, note that vaccines, as and when they are included in the Universal Immunization Program, result in them being listed under the NLEM. Hence, the third statement is correct. Since the question asks for the correct statements, the answer to this question would be option B, 2 and 3 only. Moving on to the third question. It reads, SRIJAN Portal is associated with which of the following? The four options are as follows. A. Financial empowerment of women. B. Registration portal for NGOs. C. Defense indigenization. And D. Education loans and scholarships. What is the context? This article from the PIB takes note of the Technology Development Board (TDB), which comes under the Department of Science and Technology, aiding a defense indigenization program. Notably, these components had been listed on the SRIJAN portal. Now let us understand what we mean by the SRIJAN portal. Note, this portal has been developed by the Department of Defense Production, which comes under the Defense Ministry. This portal gives information on items that can be taken up for indigenization by the private sector in India. What happens is, on this portal, the defense public sector units display their items which they have been importing or are going to import, which the Indian industry can design, develop and manufacture as per their capability or through joint ventures with the original equipment manufacturers. The interested Indian industry can take up items for design and development. Coming back to the question, from our discussion, it becomes clear that the answer to this question is option B, C, defense indigenization. Owing to the efforts of the Indian government to indigenize defense production, the expenditure on defense procurement from foreign sources has reduced drastically from 46% to 36% in the last 3 years alone. Moving on to the fourth question. It reads, which of the following statements is or are correct with respect to registered unrecognized political parties? There are two question statements given here. The first one reads, the register of RUPPs is maintained by the Election Commission under Section 29A of Representation of People Act 1950. The second statement reads, the party must contest an election conducted by the Election Commission within 5 years of its registration and thereafter should continue to contest, barring which it is liable to be taken off the list of registered parties. Please have a look at the options given. What is the context? This article from the PIB takes note of the Election Commission declaring around 253 RUPPs as inactive. The Election Commission has barred them from availing benefits under the symbol order. Now, what do we mean by RUPP or the Registered Unrecognized Political Parties? Please note, these RUPPs are either newly registered parties or those which have not secured enough percentage of votes in the elections, be it assembly or general elections, to become a state party or a national party. Hence, they are considered unrecognized parties. Such unrecognized parties do not enjoy all the benefits which are generally extended to the recognized state and national parties. Coming back to the question, consider the first statement. This statement is wrong. Please note, the registration of political parties are governed by the provisions of the Representation of People Act 1951 and not 1950. Note, while the Representation of People Act 1950 deals with issues such as delimitation of constituencies, allocation of seats, preparation of electoral rolls, and qualification of voters, It is the Representation of People Act of 1951 which deals with the actual conduct of elections. It deals with the registration of political parties as well as qualification and disqualification for memberships. It also deals with provisions to curb corrupt practices and other offences. The second statement is correct. That is, a party must be active to be able to continue its registered status. If a party fails to take part in the elections conducted by the Election Commission, it is liable to be taken off the list of the registered parties. Please note, if the registered party does not contest elections continuously for 6 years, then the party shall be taken off the list. Since the question asks for the correct statements, the answer to this question would be option B, 2 only. Next, moving on to the last question of the day. This is a question from the 2019 UPSC Prelims paper. The question reads, in the context of which one of the following are the terms pyrolysis and plasma gasification mentioned? The four options are as follows. Option A, extraction of rare earth elements. Option B, natural gas extraction technologies. Option C, hydrogen fuel based automobiles. And option D, waste to energy technologies. The answer to this question is option D, waste to energy technologies. Note, pyrolysis is a process of chemically decomposing organic matters. This is done at elevated temperatures in the absence of oxygen and under high pressure. Organic material is subjected to pyrolysis, they get converted into a solid residue containing ash and carbon and small quantities of liquid and gases. The plasma gasification process helps convert organic matter into a syngas or synthesis gas. Please note, this syngas is primarily made up of hydrogen and carbon monoxide. And this process is used commercially as a waste to energy system to convert municipal solid waste. Next, moving on to the fact of the day, extended reality technologies. What is the context? This article from the PIB takes note of the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology Startup Hub and Meta announcing the launch of an accelerator program to support and accelerate extended reality technology startups across India. This initiative will focus on skilling and building technological capabilities and will help shape the ecosystem for the emerging technologies of extended reality. In this context, let us understand a few basic aspects related to extended reality technologies. Now, what do we mean by extended reality? Extended reality is a term which refers to all real and virtual combined environments generated by computer technology as well as wearable technology. Generally, extended reality is a superset that includes the entire spectrum from the complete real to the complete virtual. It includes versions such as augmented reality, mixed reality, and virtual reality. Let us understand what we mean by augmented reality. Note, in augmented reality, virtual information and objects are overlaid on the real world. This experience enhances the real world with digital details, such as images, text, and animation. Hence, in the case of augmented reality, the users are not isolated from the real world and can still interact and see what's going on. An important example of augmented reality would be the Snapchat filters. Next, let us understand what is virtual reality. Note, in contrast to augmented reality, in virtual reality, users are fully immersed in a simulated digital environment. In order to experience this virtual reality, individuals must put on a VR headset or head-mounted display. An important example of virtual reality would be the video games developed by the gaming industry. In the case of mixed reality, digital and real world objects coexist and can also interact with one another in real time. This is the latest immersive technology and is referred to as hybrid reality. Note, the extended reality is a rapidly growing field and is being applied in a wide range of ways, including in entertainment, marketing, training, as well as in remote work. This is all we have for today's discussion. Thank you for being with us.